second drop. We're working on dealing with this near arm here like this week. So I'm going to show you like a few different ways we can try to deal with the way that Nick's framing with this arm, and how that can lead to some attacks as well. Okay, so just as a bit of an overview, when he gets this arm in, that's going to be really good for Nick to make space and start recovering his guard. Okay, so I want to try and clear that arm from my hip. Okay, usually pushing on my hip. So first thing I'm going to do when that arm's in front of my hip, I don't want to stay square like this because he can really frame off that well. I actually want to turn my hips like this. Okay, it makes it much less effective for his frame. And from there, ideally, this is our first move. We're going to reach to the elbow like this. Try to lift the elbow up off the ground, and then you're going to shoot your hips underneath. You want to go so far that your left hip bone, so my hip bone here, gets past the line of the elbow. So when he tries to pull that elbow down, it's stuck. And when I turn to my knees now, that stays stuck, okay? So if he pulls that elbow back, it's stuck, right? Now, because sometimes you lift it up and you get your near hip bone past, okay? Just wait. Near hip bone. If the near hip bone's fine here, yeah? Like when he tries to pull his elbow free, it's stuck. But when I try to square up, I'm just giving him the frame again, okay? So I need to make sure my left hip bone gets past the line of the elbow. And then when I square up, I want to pull him in tight with his shoulders so he can't move his shoulders away. If he can't move his shoulders away, he can't get that elbow back. If I let his shoulders move away, he gets that arm back. Okay. That's our first one. Our second one, if Nick's being more tight with that elbow or making it difficult for me to lift, what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to walk my hips further back towards Nick's legs and try and turn his hips away like that. So I'm going to go a bit lower and walk like this. Okay? If he's still framing, so if he's still pushing on my hip, now it's much easier to pick the elbow up. It's a longer lever to work with. Or we can pummel underneath with an underhook, grabbing the shoulder and flaring our elbow like this. Okay? So again, we're here, you find it's difficult to lift, immediately we walk into the hips, the arm's a bit straighter, we can lift it like this, or pummel an underhook and come in to establish. We're going to work some stuff from here as well, guys, so just for now, if we work that underhook position here like this, that's good. Okay, and then the last scenario is I go to do that, but he doesn't follow my hip, instead he focuses on keeping his arm tight. Okay, so now just keep that elbow tucked. No matter what I do, I can't get that arm to lift because he's not really extending with it to follow. If that happens, I'm going to grab the wrist and I put my hips on top of that wrist. Okay? The way I do that is actually like usually lead with my leg, and then I bring my chest, torso, jamming that arm from being able to block me. So I've essentially, because he was more about keeping it tight, I'll just keep it tight and he can't frame well when it's stuck like this. So we go here, then we're going to swing our left elbow, so our arm around the head until it's as deep as possible, okay? You want your elbow as far through as possible, and then my ribs will go low and turn Nick's head away, okay? That's what we're aiming for. Turn him to make him face the other direction. Okay? I'll go over later why that's important, but we need him looking away, okay? So again, I've gone, but he didn't follow me with the hand, so I'm going to jam it, block the hand, my weight's on that arm, so it's jammed. Catch the head, drop the ribs, and turn the head from there. Elbow as deep as possible, guys. Not like this, all the way through. And your hand's not trying to grab their chin. You're not going like this, guys. It's just on the ground, okay? Near the far shoulder. Okay? So the three options we're going to work. First one, if you can, we lift up and we just clear the line of the elbow, easy. Okay? If not, I walk to the hips. I can either pick up here or underhook, and we go to here. And third one, we're going to jam, catch the head, and use our ribs to turn the head away. Okay, I want you to, person on bottom, don't tell them which one you, like give them different resistance, different times, give them different reactions, so they have to react to how you're, whether you're keeping it really tight, you might be giving them the first one, might be pushing, Each one requires a slightly different reaction, so make the person on top work through that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Is into the finishes. Okay, so again, like let's now. Okay, so what were the 3 different possible ending positions from that? Okay, so the first one was we ended up here where we got the like a cross-face underhook and a square like this. Okay, so the first ending position, and we could end up in exactly the same spot if he's blocked my hip here, and I went like that. Okay, the other, or one of the other places we ended, block again. If we went an underhook, okay, we're gonna end up slightly different because we're now under the arm as we go through. Okay, so that's one of the other ending positions. And the last one was obviously a little jam and looking towards getting north-south. Okay, so we're gonna have 3 different finishes, or one back take and two finishing positions. Okay, so first one, when he's just got the regular forearm hip block, we managed to lift up and scoot through. We're gonna get our crossface and underhook. Now, this is a really good time to start looking towards mount. So I'm gonna take my right knee and I'm gonna put it over the top and start going towards mount. What's Nick gonna do to react to this? Push. Probably my knee. Come on, Nick. Yes, that's right. Okay, otherwise, go back. If he doesn't, cool, thanks for mount. Okay, so he blocks my knee. What I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna grab that wrist, I'm gonna pin it to his body. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna swing over to a triangle, but it's really important what I do with my hips, okay? Because if I stay like forward, unless you're really flexible, it's kind of like awkward as to try to get your leg over the top, right? You can see that's a more difficult task. So what I want to do is actually like sit back my leg like this, okay? My leg gets a lot better swing like this than when I'm up like that, okay? So we're here, we got our cross-face underhook, put my knee up, he blocks, I grab the wrist, I lean back, so I'm sitting back, and I start lifting the head up as I swing the leg over, okay? Don't step on the ground here, I want you to keep going until you're on your right hip, okay? So almost like falling over them a little bit. Again, we're here, I'm gonna go here like this, and we can lock up a triangle there. I won't go over the details of finishing the mounted triangle, but basically you're in a very good spot once you catch the head here and you've got something like a triangle locked like here. Okay. Our second option, well, our second possible scenario was we were here, he's blocking, and I get an underhook. Okay, keep that. So when I get the underhook, I'm going to try and force Nick to turn his back. So I'm going to put my knee behind his back like this, and then I'm going to get like my chest and my hips to push behind his back to make his weight go this way. I just want it so that this arm can't resist that, okay? If he puts this elbow out, don't let me turn your back, that's gonna block it, okay? So I wanna pull this arm in, okay? I've got my knee behind the back, I've got the underhook. I'm gonna use my hips to make him post this hand on the mat, which gives me the sit bump. So again, we're here, we get my underhook, knee goes behind the back, block this arm, hips come forward, and we take the seat belt. And the last one, when we've jammed the arm, we're gonna do our north-south choke, okay? So I've got my elbow as deep as possible. Make sure you do this, guys. Not lifting this hand up, the hand's kind of flat near the other shoulder. My ribs are gonna hit the side of his head. So I sprawl first, then ribs come in. Not ribs on the face, okay? It's sprawl and use your ribs to turn, okay? Connect my hands. From here, most of the time, like, don't think about the choke first. Think about your shoulder like going here. It gets like on the middle of the chest, and then it starts to slide in front of the neck. It doesn't go like straight into the neck. They'll probably tuck their chin and you won't get anything. Okay. So we want our shoulder to come forward first, connect our hands, and then little movements. I'm gonna keep moving my shoulder to the side. So I start to cut the shoulder across the neck. It's my bicep that's gonna do the choke. And then every time I do that, I risk Nick turning in, okay? Yeah, this way, which I don't want to happen. Every time I move my shoulder there, I readjust his head by moving laterally. Shoulder across, head moves away. Okay? and we get the submission. So my shoulder's starting here, it goes forward, it goes across, and I move it to the side again. Cross, move to the side. You see my shoulder slowly moving behind and down towards the ground, under my wrist. Not straight at my hand, because my shoulder won't go too low here, compared to actually lower down in my wrist. Okay, so that's where we're gonna end up. All right, so I'll do those moves again. First one, we get to here, we go for mount, Nick blocks, I grab the wrist, step over to the mounted triangle. Second one, I get my underhook, knee behind the shoulder. I'm gonna block this arm, bring my hips in, I'm gonna take the seatbelt. And third one, he blocks. I'm gonna bring my hip over, catch the head, turn him away with my ribs, connect my hands. We'll do the little waddle. Every time, getting our bicep more and more on the neck until we get a submission. All right, let's work all of those. Be pretty confusing, but give it a go. Okay, 3, 2, 1.